The sale one is interesting because the other fear that we had was that even if the owner thought that he might sell the property, he had to tell the tenant. Now you've got to actually advise the tenant in writing 14 days before you start to the promotion of the property. So you've got to notify the tenant in writing the owner's intention to sell. But it's not, oh, we thought about it last night, so here's information that we're going to sell. Yes.
We've got compensation in provisions in the notice of termination for right of sale and the tenant fails to vacate.
No. No, on sale, a sale of a property with, it's the same as what we've got now, except that the tribunal must give the decision. But if you've got a contract exchange subject to vacant possession, then the tenant must go, and if they don't go, the tribunal must make a prompt decision.
It's still 30 days though?
Yeah, 30 days.
40 days, is that, did you say before any marketing can commence?
Yeah. You must inform them in writing. You must inform them in writing 14 days before. Oh? Yeah. But it also provides that the landlord must make every attempt to arrange appropriate inspections. But there's a new one in there that the tenant won't unreasonably refuse access. But it says that the tribunal won't make orders that the premises are available for inspection for sale any more than 2 days in a week. Okay, so if it goes to orders, what you negotiate with the tenant, that's fine. But if it goes to orders, then the maximum you're going to get is 2 inspections a week. All right? Which is not far from what most of us have been negotiating anyway. You get them 2 open for inspections and the rest by appointment. It's usually not a problem. Okay. Now, the problem, if the owner was thinking of selling the property before he actually put it on the market, and then he puts it on the market after he's found a tenant, the tenant can then walk away from the tenancy. Without giving notice, they can just say, well, you did advise me that you were going to sell the property. And this is where you've got some contention, and it's section 100, section 100C, isn't it?
How long after they move in?
It doesn't specify a time. Let me have a little look here. Here we go. Early termination without compensation of the landlord. And the one here is that if the landlord has not notified the tenant of the landlord's intention to sell the premises and did not disclose the proposed sale before entering into the residential tenancy agreement. So before you go and lease a place, you've got to say to your owners, have you an intention of selling it, certainly in the early stages? Because if you withhold that information, you sign up a tenancy and the tenant finds out, and it's going to be a lot of cases the tribunal has said who said what to whom, you can bet on that. But any tenancy, when they find out, if it's, but obviously if it's gone for some time, but if it's early in the tenancy and the owner wants to flog it off with a tenant in it, that gives the tenant the right to leave immediately, no notice required and no compensation payable.
Is there time specified in this legislation? Like,
No.
We have that happen a lot.
No, it's, the opening section just purely says the tenant may give a termination notice for a fixed term tenancy agreement on the following grounds: that the tenant has been offered other accommodation, that's social housing, so that was in the draft and is back here. So if you've got a tenant on a fixed term and he gets offered Department of Housing, then they can just go.
Are you serious?
Don't have to give notice.
Yep. Yep, at a fixed term.
Okay. The second part is the tenant has accepted a place in an aged care facility. So it might have been on a waiting list. They've taken out a new waiting list for a retirement village or aged care facility, more aged care than retirement. Then they can go without giving notice and paying compensation. The third one, but it doesn't actually give a time.
So there's no note, like not even 7 days, they can just ring up and say, I'll left today, and there's the keys.
Yeah. Basically, if you haven't disclosed to them that situation about the sale, that's what they can do, they can walk.
Same as with the 90 days. Once you've served that 90-day notice, they walk in Friday and just say, here's the keys.
Okay.
Well, with the 90 days...
Well, what if they just, you say they only pay till the day they're there. What if they disappear on Thursday? Are we supposed to check the property every day after?
Oh, they've got to give you notice they're going.
How?
Well, they... No, 0. 1 second.
So it's when they hand the keys back.
They give you vacant possession of the property, but there's no, they don't need to give, once that 90 days notice has been served, they don't have to give you any notice period at all. They walk into your office with the keys or communicate it to you in an appropriate manner. But the notice period is 1 second or less.
It just means landlords are going to start giving notice at the end of leases unless they're willing to resign.
Yep.
Somebody, in relation to the sale of property too, if anybody's coming up with a really good idea that they'll put a special condition in all of their agents said, we might sell this, that's already been thought of and they didn't like it. So,
Sorry, what was that?
well, there was a thought kicked around, we'd put a special condition in the lease that said, we might sell this property, there's your notice.
Sometimes.
So I thought that was a really good workaround, but they didn't like that one.
They didn't like it.
Does the leaving apply to any notice for 30 days from the sale? So I've sold it, it's exchanged, they can come in 2 days later and say, well, I'm going. So it applies to any notice,
Yeah.
not just 90 days.
Can they do that now as well?
No, this is under the new. This will be under the new.
This is
Act.
under the new one.
Is this your interpretation or this is...
I think in that respect it's pretty clear.
Okay.
So it's not an interpretation issue, folks. You can see here that this is an enormous issue, and I'd just like to recognise Tim here, who's spent an inordinate amount of time getting his head around the legislation in a very, very short period of time to be here today. So if you can put your hands together for Tim, I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you.
Please be aware that we will be we are going to be back in this space with an ongoing campaign of education as the regulation comes to us. When we know what it looks like, when we get an understanding of what it does, when we understand when it will become applicable. So please stay tuned. We will be back and we will be providing ongoing education in the area. Also, our helpline for those of you who are having some difficulties with anything you understand in the new legislation. Our helpline is always available to you. Thank you for your attendance.